Hello everyone, this is The Last Word and I'm Maria Shakil. Happy Teachers' Day to all. And this Teachers' Day, an award given to a teacher has been withheld. To mark Teachers' Day, the Karnataka government announced the Best Teacher Awards to 41 teachers and principals and lecturers of various government schools and pre-university colleges across the state. Krishna and Rame Gowda, principal of Hunsur PU College in Mysuru district, were announced as winners of the Best Principal Award. The state government was supposed to felicitate him on the occasion of Teachers' Day, that is today. Karnataka's Education Minister, Madhu Bangarappa, said that the award has been temporarily put on hold, also adding that he has instructed the committee overseeing this to re-evaluate and then report back to him, adding that there are concerns in the way the principal treated the children. Let me take you back in time. In December 2021, when the entire hijab controversy arose in Karnataka, the epicenter was this government PU college in Udupi town, which later spread, of course, across the state. In February 2022, at least 28 students were not allowed to attend classes in this college because they were wearing hijab. And Krishna, the principal of government pre-university college in Udupi, was accused of asking Muslim students wearing headscarves to stand outside in the sun during this entire hijab row. So the question that we ask on the show tonight: should teachers who indulge in religious discrimination be awarded? Or is the state government purely acting under pressure from vested interest groups? I'll be taking that question to the panelists who will be joining me shortly. But first up, a look at this report.
Why has the award been withheld right now?
A U-turn by the Karnataka Education Department on the Best Teacher Award. After announcing the name of Udupi's B.G. Ramakrishna, principal of Kundapura PU College, they have now hit the pause button on the honour. The reason? B.G. Ramakrishna had in December 2021 not allowed girls to wear the hijab, triggering a massive uproar across the state. The SDPI was the first to oppose it.
Anybody who applies will apply for a committee, in district level. They will see that, send it to us. If there's another committee. It's not me, it's my department, there are officers. They will check and then finalize. But when this particular thing regarding his behavior came up, then I said cross-check and then, because that is also very important. And please don't politicize this, because I know what the issue is.
The BJP has said the U-turn amounts to appeasement politics.
ಆದರೆ ಇವತ್ತು ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಆ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಗೆ ಘೋಷಣೆ ಆದ ಆಯ್ಕೆ ಪಟ್ಟಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂತಿಮವಾದ ನಂತರ ಘೋಷಣೆಯಾದ ನಂತರ ಅದನ್ನು ಹಿಂಪಡೆದ ಮೂಲಕ ಒಂದು ಸಮುದಾಯಕ್ಕೆ ಓಲೈಕೆ ಮಾಡುವಂಥ ಕೆಲಸಕ್ಕೆ ಮುಂದಾಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಮತ್ತೊಮ್ಮೆ ಇದು ಉಡುಪಿ ಜಿಲ್ಲೆಯ ಜನರಿಗೆ ಮಾಡಿದ ಅವಮಾನ, ಶಿಕ್ಷಕರ ವೃತ್ತಿಗೆ ಮಾಡಿದ ಅನ್ಯಾಯ.
The hijab ban had snowballed into a major controversy in 2022. Putting this award on hold indicates there is pressure on the state government. How this issue was overlooked during selection is something that has left teachers and students baffled. With camera person Govind, Pratibha Raman in Bengaluru for NDTV.
Let me bring in my guests now. Nalin Kohli is the spokesperson of the BJP. Dhruv is the spokesperson of the Congress. We have Professor Geeta Bhatt, Syed Asad Abbas and Maya Sharma, senior journalist. Maya Sharma, I'm going to begin with you as someone who has been tracking the state's politics for so long and state's socio-political affairs as well. How do you look at this current controversy?
Well, of course, when the hijab ban, the rules of the hijab ban swept across Karnataka, it was an extremely divisive issue. It was an issue where people definitely felt that the BJP state government at that time was playing on sentiments of the right wing, of extremists of the right wing, and was actually pressurizing young girl students. And it was seen through that. And of course, the principals, the teachers were given an order. So it's really, there are many factors here because, of course, government servants, including principals and teachers in government colleges, are required to follow orders. But there is also a way of following orders, a way of using your own discretion when it comes to actually following up on these things and the way it was done, with the young girls being actually asked to stand outside, being kept outside the gates. And another unfortunate thing for this particular principal is that it was all caught on camera, which of course increased the focus on what had been done. So it definitely was an issue which divided the state. It was an issue that should be questioned. And it also, calls into question the way awards are being given, the way award selection has been done. The education minister has kind of passed the responsibility to the district committee who is recommending the award. But really unfortunate that somebody who did something like this was actually considered for award.
Yes.
In his defense, he will just say he was following orders.
Okay. So why was he considered for the award in the first place, Dhruv Jati?
No, I'd like to begin with, state saying one particular vachana, which is Ivanarava, 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 Ivanammava, 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 Kudala Sangamadeva, Nimammanaya Magananendanisaya. And this is in fact the vachana of Guru Basaveshwara. And this case boils down to the right of choice, and the choice of which the Bharatiya Janata Party goes on to say that it has championed. And in contradictory, it expects the Congress government in Karnataka to give an award to a teacher who went on to, in fact, disallow students not just from entering the campus, but also from allowing them to use their right of choice. The district committee has, and coming to your question, the district committee has the authority in order to recommend names in order to the state education ministry, and his name was recommended even in the previous term as well. There weren't oppositions just from the STPI or any other group. There were oppositions even from press reporters from various sections of society within that particular district of Udupi. The question here, Maria, is what kind of precedent are we trying to set in society by giving an award to such kind of a teacher?
No, that's
now,
all.
Speaking
that's
about
all right.
appeasement, because it was brought up in the beginning.
The point here is what Maya Sharma said, that what kind of screening is done in the first place. If he had indulged, if his conduct was seen as divisive, then he should not have been even considered. Why consider him, inform him that he is among those 41 teachers and principals, and then withdraw the award or withheld the award?
See, during last time's BJP's tenure, when the government order was passed, he was hailed as a hero according to the BJP government. And there were recommendations in which his name was passed through. But public scrutiny, and when it came to the light of the public, and when press reporters in various sections of society saw that this name was put forward, it was immediately put on hold. And this shows accountability within the Karnataka Congress government.
Okay. Nalin Kohli, the question is then the government which had overlooked a particular aspect of this principle has actually done course correction. Then why are you calling it appeasement?
So, Maya, let me, Maria, approach this a little differently as a practicing lawyer. And let me raise a few questions, because we already have a Congress point of view and a relatively, I would call a leftist liberal kind of point of view coming from the other two panelists. So, the champion of the hijab or the dress sense imposed in some countries, like say by the Taliban in Afghanistan, we'll have the same lot of people say that it's against women's rights. So there are 4 factors here that we need to look at. The first is whether if a prescribed uniform is there, can somebody say, for example, that my religious identity would take me over and above what is the secular requirements of the institution. Now let's change this from the school or a college to the armed forces. For example, in the armed forces, it would be impermissible because you are an Indian, and that's how it is, the constitution, that you are an Indian first, Article 14, equal before law. Then certain religious rights flow from Article 25 onwards, but they are not over and above what may be the secular credentials of the constitution. So therefore, if there is a circular directing a certain uniform and there is non-adherence to it, the next question comes, the officer who's in charge of it, if he follows those instructions, maybe a little enthusiastically also, over enthusiastically, would that be correct or would that be wrong? Or would it be correct to defy an official, for example, prescription on what the uniform should be? The third set of issues that need to be seen is, if someone is recommended, then the government should have the courage to say, I don't agree with you. I don't want to give you the award.
But Nalin,
because of this, would you withhold it on courts? Technical sound. No, Maria. 1 minute, Maria, I'm coming. And you will have to give me the time because I have two panelists who are anti-BJP in their point of view. And they can be. There's no harm. So I need to finish my point of view because it's 2 versus 1. So therefore, let me come to the next, as I was saying, which is that the government should it not have then the courage to say, I would not like to give you the award because I think you have taken a wrong view on the hijab issue. And I am not pandering to the SDPI, which I would consider a rather radical organization, probably just a shade away from what a very, very radical organization would be, which even the Muslim worlds would probably look and say, this is not an organization we would associate with. But the SDPI is probably on the edge, as many people seem to see. So that's the aspect. Now let's come to the next point. On Teachers' Day, if you feel the process is flawed, amend it. Who's stopping you? But if you ignore all the 3 other factors, then the question will come that you are appeasing a Muslim minority. And then you are also doing great disservice to Muslims within the community. For example, the SDPI will not be speaking for, say, a Muslim lady who went to the Supreme Court to get triple talaq removed, banned, which was not the BJP. So I think these organizations don't speak for the Muslim community completely. So the minute a political party panders to that one particular segment within a community, they have to face the argument that they are appeasing.
Yes, but we also have the entire...
I'm done. You can ask your counter question.
The entire timeline of how this entire debate had panned out when there was a split verdict which came in October of 2022, Nalin, in which...
Yes, it's a fact.
Yes.
It is a split verdict.
Where Justice Dhulia
one
had said
respected judge has agreed,
that the ban was
one respected judge has disagreed, and that's reality.
Yes.
So there are 2 points of view. That's actually factually correct.
That's why I'm saying that there is the other view, which is essentially that
therefore,
the ban was unconstitutional. So someone like this principal was trying to adhere to a ban which was unconstitutional in nature and which visibly was discriminatory.
But how would he know before the judgment was pronounced?
But before...
No, with due respect, how would he know before the judgment is pronounced?
Fine enough.
How can you even say that, Maria?
Okay,
till the judgment was pronounced, there was no such thing from the Supreme Court.
Okay, but
so therefore, up to that point of view, he had an operating, till there was a stay on it,
so he was
an operating circular that he had to operate on.
He was following
you can't make a presumption that I would know something will happen in the future.
No, 1 moment. I'm coming to you. But Asad Abbas,
Maria, it's a matter of policy.
It's a matter of policy
because it was overturned by the state government.
1 moment, I'm coming to you. Asad Abbas, my point of view here is also, and taking forward what Nalin had said here, that the government is reacting in Karnataka only after a radical group has pointed it out. So your
Absolutely
reaction
not,
is only based on what SDPI is saying.
Absolutely not, Maria. As a matter of fact, Siddaramaiah ji, the Honorable Chief Minister of Karnataka, has many a times himself called for a ban of SDPI. And for not what we see, we're all politically aware that SDPI indeed eats into the vote bank of Congress. So existence of SDPI, which is a political arm of the PFI, is actually eating into the Congress vote bank, which, as a matter of fact, benefits the Bharatiya Janata Party. Now, coming to my good friend Nalin Kohli Saab, Senior Saab, let me just quickly enlighten him. Respected sir, the Bharatiya Janata Party speaks of Beti Padhao, Beti Bachao. And in response to that, many spokespersons, not you, but many others from your party, give an option, hijab or kitab. Why can't a young Muslim woman have both hijab and kitab if she wants? I'd really like to ask the Bharatiya Janata Party. Over the last several decades, here in Karnataka, many of the girls have been wearing hijab to the colleges. But now suddenly, when the Bharatiya Janata Party, Basuraj Bommai government comes into picture, you have a problem with it. Why so? Let me quickly enlighten and educate my BJP friends. Respected sirs, there is a FIFA Football World Cup team, women, which wears hijab. There are US court judges which wear hijab. Not just that, practicing doctors, entrepreneurs, engineers, many women who wear hijab. My simple question to BJP is, how does it make a difference? A piece of cloth covering the head, what difference does it make? Why clip the wings of a young woman who wants to fly? Also,
we are discussing the
Maria ji, just
conduct
30 seconds.
of
Just 30
someone
seconds, Maria ji.
who was following orders.
I'll tell you.
So my question
I'll tell
is
you. Huh.
that
The conduct, yes.
were there,
I'm glad you asked the question. I will answer that.
One moment. My question then is, and this is a question to Maya Sharma, that at that time there were multiple colleges.
Maria ji, to
Maya,
complete my point,
at that
30
time
seconds.
there were multiple colleges across Karnataka which were trying to implement it. So 41 teachers and principals and lecturers who have been given the Teachers' Day awards, are we seeing them as those who did not implement it?
Well, I think it must be remembered that the person who is being discussed, the principal whose award is now on hold, was in Kundapur, was in Udupi district, which is in that very communally sensitive coastal region of Karnataka. His location made his decisions to implement the order he probably received. It is a bit of a tinderbox there. It is a very communally sensitive area. So his location also played a part in the focus being given to his actions. And like I said, it was caught on video. We've seen these young girls arguing to be let in, saying, are we not students? And as we watch them, we see other, presumably Hindu girls being let inside without, girls who are not wearing a hijab. So the location of that's such a sensitive area. And Nalin had said something about, think of the Defense Forces. This is not the Defense Forces. This is just a college where young girls are going to try and learn.
Yes.
It is not an equivalent argument. And also, I think it's being disingenuous to think that it was just a question of following uniforms and following orders like that. There was definitely an element of troublemaking in this. It was right-wing pressure to try and crack down on these practices. It was definitely a motivated pressure to look so closely at what young girls were wearing. And as a side point, the obsession with what women wear and don't wear is very disturbing, to say the least.
Okay. Sheila Bhatt, as a director of NCWB
I'd like to come in for a minute, please.
University,
I'd like to come in
as
for a
someone
minute.
who is an educationist, how do you see this entire development? It reflects poorly on the state government, or do you think it's more of course correction?
Maria, you see, in this particular case, a principal has been selected with the, following a very due process that has been set up by the government or by a particular department. And so I understand that whatever are the particular parameters based on which an award is being given, this particular principal was satisfying all those conditions. But suddenly when it was, this came into the news that this was a principal who had not allowed some girls to enter the classroom because they did not follow the rules and regulations of the institution as per the dress code that was decided for that institution. So an individual or as a principal, as an administrator who was trying to follow he's basically doing his duty in making these girls understand that they have to follow a dress code which has been prescribed by the school. And unfortunately, one can very well see that since the Minister of Education has also very clearly come out and has said it seems that there is an interference from the minister or from the political party not to give this award. And he's being reprimanded basically because he followed, his duty of not allowing those individuals enter the school premises who were not following the dress code of the institution. And also I would like to add, because I was hearing Maya ji speaking before me, where she was saying that it is a very communally sensitive area. Does that mean that an individual as a responsible administrator of a college, or it's a school rather in this case, is supposed to actually, give in to the pressures which are there in terms of a particular community or individuals, or rather he is supposed to follow his duty in terms of deciding that only those who are going to follow this is a matter of discipline. You see, in any institution, if there is a particular conduct that has to be followed, it is a part of the discipline. So it seems that, the principal was actually...
So here is the principal who the counter argument can be that here is the principal who was acting as the administrator. But as an administrator, was he propagating something which was seen as divisive at that time is the larger question. And if he was if a due process has been followed in his selection, then why this has been upturned or withheld. But the larger question is also that can such administrators who act the manner in which he did, which certainly is driven by biases, how can he be awarded in the first place? So all these questions are to the government of the day. So let's have Nalin Kohli and Dhruv on the screen now. Yes, Dhruv, go ahead and then Nalin.
Yeah, so there were a couple of points made earlier which I'd like to respond to. So firstly, the Karnataka Congress government had overturned this as a matter of policy, which means that this hijab entire rule doesn't apply in Karnataka as of now. In the case of sub judice in front of the Supreme Court, we're all aware of that. Now, secondly, the STPI raises hundreds of issues on an everyday basis, and in no way it influences the decisions of the Karnataka government. There was ample amount of opposition from various people across the entire district of Udupi, in which Kundapura falls under, and that's why this was put on hold. Now, and there was another point which was, made regarding to appeasement, and I would like to say, Maria, that right before elections, the Karnataka BJP government was in power for about 3 years. Why is it so that 3 months before election they came up with the hijab ban and not when they were, put into power in the first place? Isn't that appeasement? And also understand the mood of the people of Karnataka. They reduced them to the number of 66 in terms of number of MLAs. And these were issues that they were banking on in order to win the election. This clearly shows that, this hijab rule, this hijab ban, communal issues in the land of Basava will clearly not prevail. And we are not going to let somebody in Karnataka who is going to be on the same books as Godse be hailed as a hero. This is Karnataka, and the principles of Basava is going to follow. It's as simple as that.
Okay. Nalin Kohli?
No, who's talking about Godse? I don't know where has Mr. Godse come into this. I mean, it would be as crazy to bring in Mussolini. So, I mean, can we leave Mussolini and Godse out of this? And let's get down to really the debate. The first is, if you are referring to Basavaji and you are saying that you are not influenced by the timing, then the counter question on the Karnataka Congress and the BJP Congress and the government there would be that then what about the timing of this? When the SDPI says something, you immediately buckle on it. You ignore the 5,000 things they say, but take one. So the timing is suspect on you. Second is an argument that was raised. What's about the hijab? It's a piece of cloth. There are enough Muslim women who don't want to wear the hijab. So are you going to say they are doing something wrong? It's a choice. In this case, it was a uniform question. It's not about a choice. Whether somebody should put a bindi or not put a bindi, somebody should wear a hijab or not. It's a question of a rule. If a rule is there, you will operate by the law operationable on that particular day. How are you going to make and sorry to use the word, a crazy argument that, the law that was operating that day is not to be followed because someday that will be overturned? I mean, that breaks the whole concept of rule of law. Now let's come to Maya Sharma's two arguments. She says that girls with hijab were not allowed and the Hindus were allowed in. I have not heard about Hindus wearing hijab. They were allowed in because they were not violating the uniform code. So I'm not communalizing it. But one who gives that comparative has to reflect whether that's a communalized statement or not. And finally, which is about, look at this being this is a tinderbox, the word used. The Udupi area is communally sensitive. If it is sensitive, then the counter question is, at this time, by taking action against the man there, are you politically calming things or creating political communal fire? I mean, that's the basic thing. So if that time it was communally sensitive, then how is it by acting on the SDPI at this time, will it not be communally sensitive? So I'll leave your viewers to decide which is the disingenuous argument.
Okay, I'll give...
Can I comment?
Yes,
Can I comment,
Abbas,
please,
go ahead.
Maria, very importantly, I'm very glad that Nalin Kohli Sahab made a statement about choice. Respect is absolutely. Women have the right of choice whether they want to wear or not a hijab. Absolutely. If they choose not to, they should not. But if they choose to, and they also choose to have an education, why is the BJP, which speaks of Beti Padhao, Beti Bachao, have so much problem? Respected sir, do you know that 2 months before this controversy, the same government PU college, the same principal BG Ramakrishna allowed these same girls with the same hijab? Why is it that? The timing real question is the BJP party. What did you do in Karnataka, sir? Communal issues. It became a communal laboratory. Hijab, halal, meat, Gauraksha. What is happening here? Karnataka is the land of Baswa Nasa, where we believe in uniformity.
Okay, I have just enough time for the last word to the two women on the panel. Professor Geeta Bhatt, 30 seconds to you, and then I'll speak to Maya Sharma.
Maria, it is very important also to put forth that there are many people who are Muslims and who do not want that these kind of practices, they should be encouraged, especially in educational institutions. One example is of Muslim Education Society, which has more than 150 educational institutions, not only in India, but also abroad. And in 2000, sometime in 2017-18, they decided that they are going to ban the covering of the face in their campuses. And their president very clearly stated that we want to pursue, let us pursue the Islam of Kerala and not the Islam of Middle East. There are many radical groups who are trying to pressurize women to cover themselves, which is not our culture. And in the larger academic interest, it is important that, women or men, anyone, they should not cover themselves, their face.
Maya Sharma, politically speaking, now that the Congress has taken this step, of course, it has kept in mind its own political calculations. But the first question that you asked, I'm going to end with that only. That can they really say that, it's an afterthought rather than, the manner in which they did it, it has been withheld. If this is not appeasement, then what exactly is the merit of this argument?
Of course, it still is a work in progress. Madhu Bangarappa does say it will be reconsidered. Yes, it does call into question the way the award was chosen, the way the person was chosen. It does, of course, that, because it's embarrassing all around to be chosen and then told the award is put on hold. But it again comes down to the freedom of choice. I don't think it was a matter of life or death whether these young girls wore a hijab or not to college. And when it comes to a question of following rules, not all rules make sense, not all laws make sense.
Absolutely.
And I think the question is whether the principal could have made different choices at a personal level. That is also the possibility.
Point very well taken, ma'am. Thank you so much for joining us. Maya Sharma, Nalin Kohli, Dhruv Jati, Professor Geeta Bhatt and Syed Asad Abbas.